My smug cousin called my wedding cheap, so I reminded her why she never even had one. I always knew my cousin Lena had a way of turning everything into a competition. Growing up, it was grades, then clothes, then boyfriends, and eventually, careers. Whatever I had, she had to have better, or at least make it seem like she did. When I got engaged, I braced myself for her commentary. Lena had once planned a massive, over-the-top wedding. She booked a ballroom, hired a 10-piece orchestra, and even had a champagne fountain on order. But the whole thing crashed spectacularly when her fiancé didn't show up. He left her standing at the altar, humiliated, with hundreds of guests whispering as they slipped out the back. For years, Lena has tried to rewrite history. Sometimes she'll say it was mutual, other times that she ended it last minute when she realized he wasn't the one. The rest of us know the truth, but no one brings it up. Out of pity or maybe fear of her venom, we let her keep the lie alive. When it came time for my wedding, I wasn't trying to compete. My fiancé and I wanted something simple and meaningful. A little garden venue strung with lights, local flowers, a live acoustic duo instead of a band. The food was catered by a family-owned restaurant we both loved. Nothing flashy, but it felt real. It felt us. Of course, Lena showed up in a glittering designer gown, more fit for a red carpet than a wedding guest list. I knew she'd make some sort of comment. I just didn't expect her to do it during dinner. We were sitting at one of the round tables, plates of food just being set down, when Lena leaned back in her chair, looked around, and smirked. "Well," she said, her voice loud enough to cut through the chatter. "This is cute. Definitely on the cheaper side, though. Not really the kind of wedding I imagined for you." The table went silent. Even the clinking of silverware stopped. My aunt looked down at her plate. One of my bridesmaids shifted uncomfortably. My husband froze mid-bite, staring at her like he couldn't believe she'd just said that. My cheeks burned, but not from embarrassment, from anger. I had spent months planning this, poring over every detail, making sure it reflected who we were as a couple. And here she was, dismissing it like it was a tacky clearance sale. I could have ignored her, smiled, nodded, let it roll off my back. But I thought about all the years of her digs, how she mocked my clothes in high school, bragged about her job in front of relatives while implying mine was cute, but not real, and sneered when I got engaged because my ring wasn't as flashy as hers had been. I set down my fork, took a sip of water, and looked her dead in the eye. "You know, Lena," I said sweetly, "you're right. It is a little cheap, but at least my husband actually showed up." The words dropped like a stone into a still pond. At first, she just blinked, then her face went pale. A few seconds later, it flushed bright red. She opened her mouth, closed it again, and gripped her wine glass so hard I thought it might shatter. Around the table, people tried to hide their reactions. My uncle coughed into his napkin. My bridesmaid bit her lip to stop from smiling. Even my usually stoic grandmother gave the tiniest, most satisfied nod. Lena muttered something about needing the bathroom and shoved back her chair, heels clicking furiously as she stormed out. When she finally returned, the food was already cold, and the mood had shifted. No one wanted to talk to her. She sat there silently, stabbing at her plate, while laughter and conversation bubbled around the rest of the tables. Later in the night, she tried to corner me. "Do you have any idea how that made me look?" she hissed. "Yes," I said, not breaking eye contact. "Exactly how you wanted me to look when you called my wedding cheap. The difference is, I told the truth." She opened her mouth, closed it, and walked away again. The rest of the evening was perfect. We danced under the lights, ate too much cake, and laughed with our families and friends. Whenever I look back on those photos, I don't see cheap. I see joy. I see love. I see my husband smiling at me like I was the only person in the world. And Lena? Well, every time she looks back, she'll see that aisle, empty, waiting for a groom who never came.